Ready? Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindha Deenabandha Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayine Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishye Namaha. Pancha Tattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakti Shaktikam. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Janmadhyasya toanvayaditaratas chartheshu bhigyaswarat tene brahma hridaya adikavaye muhyanti yat surayah tejo vari mridam yatha vinimayo yatra trisargo mrisha dhamna svena sada nirasta kuhakam satyam param dhimahi. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayet. Swasti astu vishvasya khalaha prasidatam dhyayantu bhutani shivam mitho dhiya manascha bhadram bhajatadadhokshaje aveshyatam no matirapyahetuki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 3, and we are going to read commentary on verse 24 by Sridhar Swami. So we have read the commentaries of Vishwanath Chakravarti on 24th to 28th, where Mother Devaki is praying to Krishna, primarily asking him to unmanifest his 400 form and become a small baby, because she was worried that Kamsa will come and kill him. So it is a what you call schizophrenic feeling or ambivalent feeling, that on one side she is praying him to be the Supreme Person, whom the Kal also fears, who is beyond time, beyond everything, and anyone who takes shelter of his feet becomes fearless, At the same time, she is worried about his life. So this is the mixed feeling of Aishwarya and Madhavi. So where is Vilas in his request to read the commentary of Sridhar Swami? So this verse number 24 is quite philosophical. Vishwanath Chakravarti did not get into that, but every word here seems to relate with a different school of philosophy. Rupam yattat prahur avyaktam adyam brahma jyoti nirgunam nirvikaram satta matram nirvishesham niriham satvam sakshad vishnu adhyatma dev. So the main thing is that Satvam Sakshad Vishnu Adhyatma Deepa. You are directly Vishnu, who is the illuminating lamp, brings consciousness to everything. And this Rupa, this form, she is speaking about the very form which she is seeing in front of him. So he says this. Different people, prahu means they say. So from that I think he takes the clue that different scholars speak of this form in different ways. Some call it avyakta, some call it Brahma, Jyoti, Nirgun and so on. So that's how he comments. So tvai bhaya shanka eva tavan nasti iti shloka chatushtayen aha Devaki. So Devaki speaks in these 4 slokas which we already read that you have no possibility of any fear from anybody. Kinchid vigyapetum rupamiti. So to say this or to make it known, she speaks these 4 slokas beginning with yattat. Rupamiti. Yattat kimapi rupam vastu prahur veda. So this rupa, this form, so rupa form is called rupa in Sanskrit because this is what describes something. Rupyate, nirupyate. Nirupana means to describe. So rupa is that which describes somebody, right? When you describe someone, what you call Swarup Lakshana. And then you speak of the form. So therefore this form is described in the Vedas. Yattat, whatever is it, kimapi rupam, vastu. What is this vastu? So vasti iti vastu, this real stuff. So kim tad vastu, what is this vastu? Means what is the reality of this form? So that she says avyaktam, that it is called avyakta. So avyakta means that which is not vyakta. Vyakta is that which is perceivable to us. That's what we call as vyakta. From this we have the word vyakti. Vyakti means individual. Vyakti, although in Hindi it is used only for human beings, but in Sanskrit it means any individual object is called vyakti. So atra hetu, why are you avyakta? He says because you are the adyam, means you are the cause. So karya is that which is manifest and cause is that something is unmanifest, right? When something becomes manifest, you create, that is the vyakta. Before that it was avyakta, right? That's what Satkaryavad says, that when karya, the effect is remaining unmanifest, that's what cause is, and when cause becomes manifest, that's what the effect is. So avyakta, therefore it says that you are avyakta because you are adyam. Adyam means that which is before anyone else, means the cause, karana. So then question is raised that they say that everything is coming from Paramanu. And what is the cause of everything? Atoms. Atom is again loose translation. Parmanu means which is indivisible. The matter, when you cannot divide it further, it is called Parmanu. So you mean to say I am Parmanu? Because all these objects which you see around you, they are made from atoms. So if I am the original cause, I must be atoms. That's what Nyaya says, Vaisheshika. So Kim Paramanavaha? So then she says no, the next word it says Brahma. Paramanus are small and Brahma means Brihat. You are great, big, all-pervading. So Kim Pradhanam? So Brahma also means not that Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, but Pradhana is also called Brahma. Right? Mama Yonir Mahad Brahma. Tasmin Garbham Dadhamyaham. So Krishna says that this Pradhana is also Brahma. Because Brahma means big. So Pradhan is also big. So then says that, do you mean to say that I am Pradhan? So he is going from one school to another school. So Parmanu is Vaisheshika, Pradhan is Sankhya. So then says no, the next word is Jyoti, you are Chetana. So Jyoti here means conscious. Pradhan is unconscious. So you are not that. So then Kim Vaisheshikanam Gyan Gunam? So okay, I am not Pradhan, I am not Parmanu. Then is it that I am the Atma of Vaisheshikas? Because Vaisheshikas say that Ishvara created, right? He is the creator. So am I Ishvara? But there Ishvara is Gyan Gunak. That its consciousness is its attribute. It is not conscious itself. Right? In Nyaya, in Tark Sangra we studied that Atma is not conscious by nature. It is conscious only when there is Gyan. So that means only when mind is there, because Gyan comes through mind. Right? Indriyat Sannikarshanyam Gyanam Pratyaksham. So do you mean to say I am that Ishvara who is actually Gyan Guna? Or I am that Atma? So Kim Vaisheshika Nam Eva Gyan Gunam? So he says no, you are Nirguna. Because that Ishvara has Gyan as Guna, Gyan Gunakam. But you are Nirguna, that is the next word, Nirgunam. So Vyaktam, Adyam, Brahma, Jyoti, Nirgunam. So then Kim Mimansaka Namiva Gyan Parinami? So okay, if you are Nirguna, then is it that the Gyan is manifest from you? Gyan is your Parinam as per the Mimansaka Prabhakaras. So he says, no, you are Nirvikara, you do not undergo any transformation, so Nirvikaram. So then says Kim Puskarakshadanyam Adinam Iva Shakti Vikshep Parinam. So this is another school of Vedanta. We say that ultimate reality is Brahman, but that Brahman has Shakti and that Shakti manifests. So their philosophy is Bheda Bhed. So am I that? So he says no, because after that says Satta Matram. that you are pure Satta. So then Satta comes in Nyaya also. Tarhi kim samanyam. So in Tark Sangra we studied there are 7 padarthas. Dravya, Gun, Karma, Samanya, Visesh, Samvaya. So the Samanya is of 2 types. Paramaparam Chaiti. Remember? Samanyam Divedham. Paramaparam. 2 types. There is Parasamanyam, Aparasamanyam. So Parasamanyam is the Satta which exists in Dravya, Guna and Karma. So Dravya has Satta, Gun have Satta, Karma also has Satta. But others, they don't have Satta directly. Samanya, Vishesh, Samvaya, they don't have direct Satta. Their Satta is because they are in the Dravya and Dravya has Satta. So he says that you are Satta Matra. So are you talking about that Satta? Which is the Samanya, Parasamanya. So he says no.
Does Satta mean like just existence? Or?
Yes. Naste vidyate bhava, na bhava vidyate Satta. So there is 2 words in Nyaya they use. One is Satta and one is Bhava. From dictionary meaning, they both mean same. There is no difference in meaning. Satta means existence. Bhava also means Bhu Sattayam. The root Bhu itself means Satta. Bhavati. So Asti, Bhavati and Vidyate. These are 3 roots in Sanskrit which they all mean Satta. To exist. Right? Vidyate. Savidyate, he exists. Sa Asti. As Dhatu. Satta comes from As. As Bhuvi. When they give the meaning of As Dhatu, they say Bhuvi. That As means Bhu. When they give the meaning to Bhu, they say Satta. Right? Bhu Sattayam As Bhuvi. And with Sattayam. So with As Bhu they all mean same, but still philosophically they have some difference in Nyaya. In general Sanskrit they are used interchangeably. In dictionary you will not find any difference. So bhava is that which is not. Satta is something which you directly perceive. Like the table is there. But do you perceive the Samanya also like that, or Vishesh or Samvaya? Not like that. So Satta is something which you see. Guna, there is some qualities there in something you can taste. You can say this is sweet. But Samanya, Vishesh, Samvaya you cannot taste like that. So Dravya, Guna and Karma action also you can see happening. So these 3 have, therefore they are the one which have direct Satta. What they have is called Satta. And then the Satta overflows into other things. Therefore Samanya, Vishesha, Samvaya, these are things which have been imagined by philosophers to explain things. These are not something which we actually can know. Dravya, Guna and Karma, even some non-philosopher guy can say yes, the table is there, but if you say, well, there is jati in it, so he will say, what jati? Or Samanya, or Vishesha, or Samvaya. So those are accepted for explanation of things. So those are basically some imaginary entities. Therefore some people believe in them, some don't believe them. Right? Sankhya does not say that guna or yoga or even Vedanta that guna is existing in dravya by samvaya sambandha. Right? They don't say that. We studied that in Vedanta Paribhasha. Right? They say there will be anavastha. They say if there is a samvaya, then samvaya is in both, then by what relation is it? So then they'll say it is by Swarupa, and then by what relation the Swarupa is there, then they'll say Swarupa is Swarupa, and then what do you mean Swarupa is Swarupa? So they don't accept. They say Tadatmya. They bring another word. What is Tadatmya? Bhed Sahishnu, Abhed. So how it can be Abhed if it is Bheda? So there's another, they bring another term. So they all have problem, actually speaking. That's why Jiva Goswami brings the term Achintya. People say he's not a philosopher, but actually all other philosophers, they are trying to explain by taking some term. Just like in mathematics we have iota, right? Square root of -1. What is this iota? It's an imaginary number. It has been assumed to explain things. Factually, where is it? Cannot conceive of it. Right? Can you conceive of square root of -1? It's inconceivable. But it's accepted. So Jiva Goswami is straightforward. He says Achintya, because that's what Shastra says. Achintya Guna Shakti. So, Atarkya Sahasra Shakti. That's the word used in Bhagavatam. Atarkya means Achintya. So he has Shakti which are Achintya. Means you can't pin them down, whether it is a quality or it is a dravya. Do they have a relation? Is it one or different? So that's why in the spiritual world, Shakti also has a form, so it is also dravya. Right? We say Radharani is Laduni Shakti. So is she Shakti or is she a person? Which one is it? It's both. So this is the meaning of Achintya. But then it doesn't sound philosophical. So you say Tadatmya Sambandha. What is Tadatmya? Don't ask. Then they will say Bhed Sahishnu Abhed. It's a indifference, non-difference which tolerate difference. So what is that? So we don't want to say inconceivable. So Nyaya is more straightforward. It says Samvaya Sambandha. At least they have a different thing. So Tarhi Kim Samanyam. So is it Samanya then? So he says no, it is not Samanya. Why? Because it is Nirvishesha. Because if it is Samanya, then it will have Vishesha in it. Right? So he says Nirvishesham. Tarhi Kim Karnatvat Satkriya. So then they say, okay, let's drop everything, let's come back to the original. He said that he is the Karana. Right? He says Avyaktam Adyam. Adyam he said is Karanam. So if it is Karana, then he must have Satkriya. Right? Satkriyavad means it has existence and it becomes Karana, becomes Karya. So therefore he says Tarhi Kim Karnatvat Satkriyam. So then he says Non-Niriham. So Iha means Cheshta. So it does not have any Cheshta, any movement, any action.
Point before, the Nirvishesha. So you mentioned that every Samanya, did I understand correctly, that every Samanya has some Vishesha?
If Samanya is there.
Yes, that the Samanya means that it is distinguished from everything else which is not that Samanya, and therefore it has some.
So therefore it cannot be Nirvishesha. If Samanya is there, then Vishesha is there.
I think.
Because there cannot be Samanya without Vishesha. Na Nirvishesham Samanyam. Right? Something has Samanya, will be having Visheshas. Vishesha means something which is differentiating, like Visheshana. What is a Visheshana? It distinguishes it from something else. That's why it is called qualifier. So if it is qualifying, means it is making it distinct from something else. That's the meaning of qualifier. So if it has Samanya, then it will also have Vishesha. So he says, but it is Nirvishesha. And with all this, he says, that is you. So now, this is the problem. That you are Avyakta, your Adya, your Brahm, your Jyoti, Nirgun, Nirvikar, Satta Matra, Nirvishesh, Nirihe, all this, and Satvam Sakshad Vishnu Adhyatmamdita. And all that is you, directly Vishnu. Sakshat means that you are not some imposition on something. You are real. Sakshat means you are perceivable. Aparoksha anubhuti. Directly perceivable, that is the meaning of sakshat. We can have sakshatkar. So it is not something, the Brahman of Advaitvad. Or Shunya of Buddhism. So sa tvam sakshat Vishnu. And you are Adhyatmani. So Sannidhi matrena karanam evam bhutam kimapi karya kalpyam yadvastu saeva sakshat. So now the question comes that if you are cause of everything and then you don't undergo any transformation, no satkriyam, so how can you be cause? So then he explains that Sannidhi matrena karanam, that you are cause just by being in proximity, like a magnet. So magnet can make a movement in iron without it moving or changing or going under any transformation or coming in contact, just by its closeness. Right? So like that you are not undergoing any transformation, but being next to Pradhana, you make it. That's why later on she calls him as Avyakt Bandhu. Te Avyakt Bandhu Cheshta Mahu Cheshtate Yenivish. So Avyakta there was translated as Prakriti and Bandhu as Pravartaka. So you are the Pravartaka, right? Prayojaka. So there are causes which are directly the causes, and there are causes which are not directly the cause in the sense that they don't do it themselves, but they inspire someone else to do it, like Prayojaka. Prayojaka is also a cause. When you say Prayojak Karta, right? Instigating agent. So that instigating agent is also a cause, but he is not doing anything. He makes the other person do, the Prayojya Karta. The action is being performed by Prayojya Karta, the inspired agent, but is being inspired by Prayojaka. So both are causes, Any agent is a cause of action. Action, kriya happens because of the agent. Others are only assisting. Right? The karana, etc., the adhikarana. They are only assisting agents. So that's why they are called karakas. The meaning of the word karta and meaning of word karaka is same. Karoti iti karaka. Naval pratyaya. And karta is trim. But still there is a difference. Karta is the direct agent, karakas are. Karta is also karaka, but other karakas are not directly. They assist the agent. One who inspires. Yeah, there can be two words for the same.
The same then.
Prayojaka means one who engages the other. Pravartaka also means vritti. Pravritti means action. Puts another into action. Pravartayati iti pravartaka, prayojayati iti prayojaka. So, sannidhi matrena karanam evam bhutam kimapi karya kalpyam yad vastu. So that vastu which by its proximity makes things happen, that is you. Saeva sakshatvam vishnurati. That is you directly, Vishnu. Na kevalam karya kalpyatvam aprokshascha itya. And not only that, you are understood from the karya. Karya kalpya means like known from the karya, janmadashrayataha. Right? So what is janmadashrayata saying? It's talking about that there is somebody from which it has come. And this is the tatastha lakshana. So tatastha lakshana means by seeing that tatastha object, or that which is the tatastha lakshana, you make an anuman that if there is a painting, then there must be a painter. Right? Painting does not happen by itself. So if there is a jagat, there is a creation, there must be a creator. So this is the anuman. So this is called karya kalpya. So by seeing the karya, you make kalpana of the karta. But then you will say, oh, so this karta is only to be understood by anuman. Right? You cannot see him, because what you infer, that you don't perceive directly. Right? If you make an inference of fire on the mountain by seeing the smoke, you don't see the fire. So therefore he says, no, it's not like this. He says, na kevalam karya kalpyatvam aparokshascha. So generally the principle is that what you infer, that you don't see, you don't perceive it. You don't have pratyaksha of this. But here he says that it is karya kalpya, but it's also perceivable. So aparoksha. And therefore she says, Satvam Sakshat Vishnu Adhyatma Deepa. So Adhyatma Deepa means that you can also be realized directly. So Adhyatma Deepam iti Buddhyadi karana sanghata prakashaka ityartha. So you are the illuminator of all the senses beginning from buddhi, etc. All this karana sanghata, the group of senses, buddhi, manas, chitta, etc. It is all illumined by you, which means that through them he can be perceived. So that's why he is called Adhyatmadik. So this is the explanation of this verse. Then he gives an alternative one, which is what we have seen, like the way Vishwanath Chakravarti does. So he gives two explanations.
This all these senses having their like being energized. He said that because the soul, and soul is also that same thing like a magnet, and like you had explained earlier, and the magnet is moving the iron filings without touching them. So the soul is also like that. Now all this explanation is for the Lord, like Vishnu or Krishna. So I'm getting a little confused, like how to make this connect between soul and Bhagavan.
Yeah, but soul is part of Bhagavan. Soul does not have independent energy. It's just one step. Just like you have the main source of electricity, and then from there the power comes, and then you may have an intermediary place from where the whole city is supplied. Right? But that intermediary place is not independent of the original source. If you cut from that, then it cannot supply. So the soul is not independently conscious. That's why it is called Shakti or Tatastha Shakti of Bhagavan. So the Shakti of the soul is coming from Paramatma, and then soul is giving Shakti to this body, senses, etc. Anything else? Okay.
This last sentence, Buddhyadi Karana Sangata Prakashaka, does that mean that he is the illuminator of those faculties, or that through those faculties one can have perception of him?
No, he is the Prakashaka. Otherwise it will be called Prakashya. Means he is the illuminator. Buddhyadi Karana Sanghata Prakashaka, illuminator.
Okay. So then after all this analysis in the verse, the final point comes according to this tika that we can, quote, recognize or experience the existence of Vishnu by considering that the functioning of our own buddhi, etc., is his grace upon us, or made possible only by him?
That is one way, that is only inference. But through them he can also illuminate himself. He illuminates the senses, etc. And then through them you can perceive him.
But is that being said here, or is that an additional way
No, that's not said here, but
Okay,
it is.
that's how we could go further with it. Okay.
Because he already said this, that aprakshascha ityaha. So he didn't say it, but it is understood. Because this buddhi, etc., they are meant for perceiving. So he illuminates that, and through them then you can perceive him. It's not directly stated here, but that's the sense here. that he is the illuminator of the internal senses, and then these internal senses can make us perceive him. They do not have the power to perceive him by themselves.
Babaji Maharaj, is that Vaidisha Pratiksha?
Yes.
Is that Vaidish?
Yes, that is Vadush Prataksha. Okay. So now we come to verse number 29. So now Devaki Devi is continuing to speak to Sri Krishna. Janmate mayasau papo ma vidyan madhusudana samudvijay bhavadheto kamsadaham adhiradhihi. So now she makes it very clear what she wants him to do. Till now she did not say it, although she had that intention, at least from the commentary we understood that. But now she explicitly states it. So she says that Madhusudana asau papaha te mai janma ma vidyat. That this sinful Kamsa should not know that you have taken birth from me. So that is the first. And then samudvijay bhavadheto kansadaham adhiradhi. Why is that? Says I, who is adhiradhi, that my mind is not stable. I am not dhira. Dhatte dharyate chaiva sadhira udharita. So I am unable to compose my mind, adhiradhi. Why? Because of kamsad heto. Kamsad bhavad heto samadhi. Because of Kamsa. Why is that? Bhavad heto. Because I fear for you. And therefore samudvijay. So I am very agitated. Because I am very troubled that he would come and kill you. And I cannot see that because I have already seen 6 of my newborn babies being killed by him ruthlessly. So that memory is imprinted in my chitta. And by seeing you all those scenes, you can imagine a mother whose 6 babies have been killed right in front of her eyes. It's not an ordinary thing. To kill even one baby in front of the eyes of the mother will be torture for the rest of the life. She will be disturbed. She will have, what is that term they have? That this, post-traumatic PSTD. So you will have PSTD, you have to go to therapy for many years to resolve that. And if this has happened 6 times, so you can imagine the situation. So now she doesn't want another scene like that in front of her own eyes. So therefore she is saying that kamsad heto bhavad heto kamsad samudvijay. I am completely terrified and disturbed. So we have the commentary here. Bho mataha yadidam rupam antardhapyami तदा कंस आगत्य गर्भस्ते क्व गतः इति गर्भचौर्यापराधेन त्वम् अधिकं ताडयिष्यति इति चेत् तत्र मम का शंका इति आह. So Krishna is giving his logic why he should stay with 4 hands. So he says that, oh mother, if I unmanifest this form, which basically means that if I disappear, then Kamsa will come because he will get the news that you have given birth to a child, and then he is going to ask you, where is the baby? And then he is going to trouble you for stealing the baby, because the baby belongs to him. Right? This was the promise which was given by Vasudeva to Kamsa, that as soon as a baby is born, we will give it to you. So this baby is his property because it is already given in advance before it is born. Right? So sometimes people take loan, farmers, and they say whatever produce comes, you take that, but give me the money. So even before the produce has come, it is already gone. So he's saying the same, before the child is born, it belongs to you. So therefore he says that garbhachaurya aparadhena, that because of the crime of stealing the baby, he will hassle you, tadishyati. So tatra mama ka shanka. So why are you therefore worried about me? So then she says, Janmaiti. So Janma me te mai asau papo ma vidyat. So ma vidyat ma janatu, that he should not know. Madhusudana iti. So she is calling him as Madhusudana. So Madhusudana means one who took out the juice of Madhu demon. Right? Sudana means smashing. So she says that you may be Madhusudana, but you are not Kamsa Sudana. So he is more dangerous than Madhu. So Madhu at least means sweet, but Kamsa means violence. Kasi hinsayam dhatu. That's what it means. That his name itself is Kamsa. Violent. So Madhu datyam hatvato mama kamsavadhe ka prayasa iti. So Krishna says that I am Madhusudana, you are calling me Madhusudana, and I had no problem in killing Madhu. So what is the problem that I will kill Kamsa? There is no effort for that. So then says Ma Manstha, says don't think like this. Tadanin tanat madhorapi idanin tana kamsha koti gunita baladhika iti bhava. So he says that this Madhusudana was not as powerful as Kamsa is. He is millions of times more powerful than Madhu Datya. So therefore it says Tadanin tanat madhorapi idanin tana kamsa. That Madhu of that time was not so powerful as Kamsa of the present times. He is million times more powerful. Bhavadayatoriti mad aparadham prakalpya mattadnam vadhadikam kuryat chet karot. So she says bhavadheto. So this is the important things. She is not worried about herself. She is not fearing Kamsa because of her own death or her own torture. But she is worried because of Krishna's. So that's why the word is used, Bhavadheto, Samudvijay. So that shows her love for her. So it says, Madapradham prakalpya mattadanam vadadhikam kuryat chet karot. So if you disappear and then Kamsa comes to know and he would come and chastise me or beat me up or kill me, let him do that. But I don't want that he comes and troubles you or kills you or you have to fight with him. I don't want to see this. Even if you are able to kill him, I don't want to see this Kamsa coming here in that mood and trying to attack you. I just cannot see that anymore. Because anyone who has PTSD will be like that. I don't want to again see some war scenery. So therefore it says that no mattadanam vadadikam kuryat chet karotu kevalam bhavatah kalyanam ashashaiti bhava. So the meaning is that I am only thinking of your welfare. It's not that she has any PTSD or anything like that. But out of love, she is only concerned about Krishna's welfare. And she does not want, it doesn't matter that Kamsa can be killed by Krishna. But she doesn't want to see that he has to even do this. So like when Krishna and Balaram went to Mathura for a wrestling match, at that time Vasudeva, Devaki, they were also there. So they were terrified. Because they say, how can they fight these big wrestlers? It's not that Devaki has forgotten that Krishna is Madhusudana and he has killed so many people. He also killed that elephant just outside the gate, Kualeya Peda. But still, could not tolerate this. So this is the motherly affection. Nanu tarhi rupam yattaditi anena nashte lokayati anena yo ayam iti anena marta mritu vyala iti anena mad aishwarya vrithaeva kimavadi. So he said, then why you have unnecessarily praised me in these 4 slokas that you are Vishnu, Adhyatma Deepa, Nirguna, Nirvikara and all this, and Nashte Loke Dviparardhavasani Ma Bhutesu Adibhutam Gatesu, that you are Shesha, when everything is destroyed only you remain, and this Kal is your Cheshta, and Marto Mirtivala Bhute Palayam Sarvan Lokan Nirghimnadhya Gachat. So why did you pray in all these things if you are fearing so much for me? On one side you are saying that I have no fear from anything, nobody can kill me, and then you fear for me. So this does not make sense. You are confusing me. At least Yashoda was not confusing Krishna like that. She was only one side. You are not God, nothing like that. You are my child. But on one side you are praising me as Vishnu Adhyatma Deepa and Shresh Shangya and Kshem Dhama, all these names, Avyakt Bandhu. And then you are saying that you fear for me. So then she answers that. So she says, Satyam says that yes, it is true what you are saying. I did praise you. Bhavan Mata Ham Evam Adhira Buddhireva. So why is this? It says because I am your mother and I cannot help it. It's not within my capacity to forget that I am your mother and you are my baby. and you are just Vishnu, and you will kill Kamsa, no problem, and I can just stand here and smile. He says, that's not possible for me. So I am very disturbed. So ma khidyasva. So he says, please do not feel bad. Mameva doshoyam. It is only my fault. I am not doubting you that you will not be able to kill Kamsa or anything like this. But it's just that I am your mother and you are my child. So nirmanchanam te yami. So I sacrifice myself to you. Nirmanchanam. Matri vatsalyena api rupam idam upsangharayati bhav. So he says, out of matri vatsalya, affection for the mother, so you please close this form. This is the meaning of this verse. So we'll stop here. Anybody has any question?
Babaji, just one small question I had. Matri Vatsalya, when she's saying for Krishna, and you are having this affection for me and a mother, or she is saying about her affection for Krishna?
You tell me.
It looks like she is saying about her affection for Krishna.
She's saying that I'm your mother, and because of your love for me, do it for me. Anyway, you can say it both ways, because it is there both ways. Depends how you take the samas. Yes.
I would have a question regarding the language here of the commentary. So in the verse he says aso papo, and then in the commentary he refers to him, to this Kamsa as ayam Kamsa, and I thought, just as a rule of thumb, what I've understood is that generally there's always a correspondence in gender number case between the words in the Tiga and the Mula in order to recognize what is explaining what. And here he's changing the pronoun. Is this, is it natural here, or is it common, or is it strange?
Yeah, because his Kamsa is not physically present there. Unless he's saying aso.
Which means that he's far away.
Yeah, he's not there.
And then in the
So
comment,
therefore he's commenting on that. Aso would mean he's personally, physically there.
okay. So my question then is it then uncommon that then in the commentary Shri Vishwanath then uses ayam? Is it uncommon that Vishwanath uses ayam then in the commentary?
Uncommon means what?
That he refers now to this?
Commentary, what is the purpose of commentary? Is to explain the verse.
Yes.
So if he says aso means here, but he's not here, so he's explaining that. Aso adusastu sannikrishtam.
I think idam. Isn't idam sannikrishta and aso
Idam tu sannikrishtam.
viprakrishta?
Samiptarvarti chayatadorupam. So aso. Ayam is idam. Okay, so is aso tat parokshe vijaniyat. So aso is adas, right? So adasastu idamastu sannikrishtam, and
others viprakrishta, no? Far away. So yeah.
So then he's just saying this Krishna I am means this. That's all.
Okay, so no special.
Okay, so let's go to Harinamrita Vakaran. So we'll recite first the whole Sangya Prakaranam. Krishnam upasitumasya srajmev नामावलिं तन्वै त्वरितं वितरेदेशा तत्साहित्यादिजामोदम् आहत जल्पित जटितं दृष्ट्वा शब्दानुशासनस्तोमम् हरिनामावलिवलितं व्याकरणं वैष्णवार्थमाचिन्मः व्याकरणे मरुनिवृत्ति जीवनलुब्धः सदाघ संविघ्नः हरिनामामृतम् एतत् पिबन्तु शतधावगाहन्ताम् साङ्केत्यं पारिहास्यं वा स्तोभं हेलनमेव वा वैकुण्ठनामग्रहण मशेषाघहरं विदुः संज्ञा प्रकरणं नारायणादुद्भूतोऽयं वर्णक्रमः तत्रादौ चतुर्दश सर्वेश्वराः दश दशावताराः तेषां द्वौ द्वावेकात्मकौ पूर्वो वामनः परस्त्रिविक्रमः त्रिमात्रो महापुरुषः आवर्जितः सर्वेश्वरा ईश्वराः दशावतारा ईशाः आ ई ई उ ऊ अनन्ताः ई ई उ ऊ चतुःसनाः उ ऊ ऋ ऋ चतुर्भुजाः ए ऐ ओ औ चतुर्व्यूहाः अम् इति विष्णुचक्रम् अं इति विष्णुचापः अ इति विष्णुसर्गः कादयो विष्णुजनाः ये वर्जितास्तु बलाः ते मान्तः पंच पंच विष्णुवर्गः ये वर्जितास्तु विष्णुगणाः कचटतपा हरिकमलानि खाछठथफ हरिखड्गः गजडदब हरिगदाः घाझढधभ हरिघोषाः ङायाण नाम हरिवेणवः तये तद्वर्जिता विष्णुदासः यारालावा हरिमित्राणि शाशासाः हरिगोत्राणि शाशासाः शौरयः विष्णुदास हरिगोत्राणि वैष्णवाः हरिगदा हरिघोष हरिवेणु हरिमित्राणि हश्च गोपालः यादवान्ये शौरी वर्जितास्तु सात्वतः स्पर्शी प्रयत्नः सर्वेश्वराणां स्पर्शी विष्णुवर्गाणां ईषत् स्पर्शी हरिमित्राणां रादनुस्वराच्च परं यावाभ्यां तु पूर्वं विनाय रामस्य पुनर्विष्णुपदादाविशत् स्पर्शितरः उपेन्द्रात् क्वचिद् विष्णुपदादौ च वर्णस्वरूपे रामः तदादिद्वये द्वयम् आदेशो विरिञ्चिः आगमो विष्णुः लोपो हरः सूत्राणि षड्विधानि असिद्ध रूपं नित्याज्यं प्रतिज्ञेयं कृदन्तिका. Okay, let's come to the first sutra. So he says that Narayana udbhutoyam varnakrama. So he explained that this varna as well as their krama has manifest from Narayana. And Narayana here means Krishna. As in the prayers of Brahma in the 10th canto, he prays Narayanastvam nahi sarvbhutanam akhila loka shakshi. You have a question?
Yeah, I didn't want to ask. I was going to ask what you just said, that both the varna and the krama of the varna here are said to be coming from Narayan, just to confirm.
Because he has used the word varna krama, right? So varna means phoneme and krama means order. So if you say that only phonemes or the varnas have come, then what is the sense of saying krama? Then he would have said Narayana adbhutoyo udbhutani varnani. But it says varna krama, so he also says order. So varna krama, order cannot come by itself. The order is coming, though it has to come along with the varna. Right? Order is of the varnas. So just the order, what does it mean that order has come from him? It has to be along with the varnas only. Right? So varnanam krama, varna krama. The order of the varnas. So if you say the order of the varnas have come, it means naturally that varnas have also come. Because if they are coming in that order, then they are coming, the varnas are also coming. And you seem to have some doubt about that?
No.
Okay. You're looking like it's not clear. Yeah, because if the order is there, the order is of what? Of the varnas, so that means both are there. So,
Babaji,
yes.
is the order of Maheshwar Sutras also supposed to be from Narayana?
That is from Maheshwar, that's why it is called Maheshwar Sutrani. It is given by Shiva. So that's why it is different. It's not the same order. The first swara is same, but afterwards is different.
So is there such a thing that this order is Sattvika and that order is Tamasic or something like that?
No, there is nothing like that. Just that he has his system of Vyakaranam and Jiva Goswami has his system. So he has made Pratyaharas. You see what Jiva Goswami has done is that usually if you see other Vyakaranas, they have Pratyahara. Pratyahara is something like what you have acronym. So acronym, you take the first letter and make a word out of that, right? So like COVID is also an acronym, it is related with corona or something. So here they take the first letter and the last, which is an it, which is really not functioning, it is a lakshanika. And then that signifies all the varnas in between that. Like when they say al, as he says here, al. So al means that in the Maheshwara Sutra it starts with a, I, un. This is the first sutra, a, I, u, no. So that is the first sutra. And the 14th sutra is hal. It only has two letters in it, ha and la. So now you take a and take la, becomes al. So what does al signify? Al signifies all the varnas which are coming in between them, including a. So la is an it, means it's just a symbolic letter, it is not included. So it is dropped. It's like a package. You pack something, then you use the thing, you throw away the package. The package also has value. So this al therefore signifies all the. So what Jiva Goswami does is that instead of making that, he takes, there are 42 pratyaharas which Panini utilizes. So there he has al, ak, an, all these things, h, ad, eng, all these pratyaharas are there, h. So he, instead of doing that, what he has done is that he has taken those letters and given them a name of Vishnu. So when Panini is making a rule, so like he says, Iko Yana Achi. It's one sutra Panini, Iko Yana Achi, Iko Yana Achi. That if Ik is followed by Ach, then it is replaced by Yana. Right? So there Ik, Yana and Ach, there all three are pratyaharas. So Jiva Goswami, he wanted to use Krishna's name. So therefore instead of saying that, he made names of Krishna for that. So that then he will say that, like he has, what is that? Idvam evaya sarveshware. So he has Idvam evaya sarveshware. He makes actually 4 sutras, Udvamra, Ridvamra. So here Sarveshwara is coming. There he says Ach. What Panini calls as Ach, Jiva Goswami calls that as Sarveshwara. So wherever Panini is going to use Ach, Jiva Goswami will use Sarveshwara. So therefore you are using Krishna's name. Instead of saying Achi Koyanchi, to memorize, say Idvameva Sarveshwara. So then you will say, well, Idvayam is also a name of Lakshmi Narayana. So like that, Dasavatara Ekatmake Militva Trivikrama. Panini Sutra is Aksavarne Dirgha. That is Panini Sutra. So Ak refers to Dasavatar. So what he calls as Ak, A, I, U, Re, Lik. Right? These A, I, U, Re, Re. So for him, he names them as Dashavatar. What he calls as Savarna, he calls them as Ekatmaka. So Dasavatara, Ekatmaka, Militva, Trivikrama. So he calls this Dirgha, he calls Trivikrama his name. So this is the game which he is playing here. That instead of using Pratyahara, he has given the names to the Pratyaharas. So therefore you have like 43 sutras here. right? In the first chapter. He has 42 pratyaharas. So he has practically made 42 sutras for that. It's in between this 35 is about 2 sutras are just for pronunciation. But more or less that's what he has done. So now of course this does not mean that he just takes Panini Sutra and adds these things. Panini's system is completely different. Panini does not have the system which Jiva Goswami has, that all the Sandhi Sutras are in one place, all the Sangya Sutras are in one place, then all the Nam, Akhyat Prakran Sutras. Panini is not like that. They are coming in different places. He has a different system. So there the problem is that not only that you have to memorize sutras, but also you have to memorize where the sutra is coming, the number of the sutra. Because it makes a difference there. What is being followed from previous one? What is the adhikar coming here? Here also that is there, but not so much. And then this whole problem of sapadi and tripadi. That ultimately the whole thing is divided into 2 parts. So 7 chapters and quarter one side, and 3 parts of the 8th chapter another side. They override everything. So therefore there is a lot of memorization. So he has simplified that. Like Siddhanta Kaumudi, basically what Jiva Goswami has done is that what you see Siddhanta Kaumudi as Bhattoji Dikshit. So Bhattoji Dikshit, what he did, that he took the sutras of Panini and he rearranged them in these 7 chapters, as Jiva Goswami has here these 7 chapters. So of course they both have done independently. I don't think that they knew each other. But these types of efforts were already going on in Panini system. Before that there was this Kramadishwara and Ramchandra, Prakriya Kaumudi, but they were not very successful. Some included only some of the sutras, not all. So Bhattoji Dikshit became famous because he used all the Panini sutras and arranged them. So it is complete system. So therefore these days what people generally study is Siddhanta Kaumudi. And then there is this Vasudev Dikshit, he made Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi. Because many of the sutras are not so commonly used. So then he made Laghu Siddhanta. So now what people do is that usually they will study Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi, then they will study Siddhanta Kaumudi, and then if they want to go deeper, they will study Mahabhashya. And then if they want to go further more, then they study Vakyapadiyam, and then Nagesh Bhatta. All these works are there. There's a lot of things available. Commentaries, Mahabhashya, there are commentaries on Mahabhashya also. But the original system was that they used to study directly Astadhyayi, the Panini system. So now there is at least one society where they still do that, and that is Arya Samaj. Those of you who are familiar with Arya Samaj of Dayanand Saraswati, they are, I don't know at present, but they were very good in this studies of Sanskrit grammar. And they follow the real Vedic system. They study Astadhyayi only. They don't study Laghu Siddhanta, they study Astadhyayi, Mahabhashya, and the commentaries of Mahabhashya. They had very famous Gurukulas, and one of the very famous Gurukula was in Vrindavan. It's still there, but now not much functioning. If you go towards this Ramakrishna Mission, and there is a village here. What is the name of that village? It's no. It's near to Goredauji on the left side. Take a turn from there. Or if you are doing parikrama, it's actually a huge place. It runs all the way up to parikrama. So there, once upon a time it was very famous Gurukula and many great scholars were trained there. Now it is almost dead. At present I don't know what is the condition, but a lot of litigation was going on. So Rajpur, you know Rajpur village? It's just next to that. It's inside parikrama. Dhorera is outside parikrama. So therefore this, we're talking about the Varnakrama. So therefore he has just taken the Swara and Varna as it is. And this is how it is also described in the Tantras or in Bhagavatam also there is a mention of it. So now let's first see how they are pronounced. It is important. Especially there are few letters which are difficult, and as I said that I learned some of them recently and not sure that I can pronounce them properly, but I will try. Because I have not met anybody. This is just like this re sound, like what comes in Krishna. So we all say Krishna, we even write it K-R-I. So in Sanskrit there is a Ra, R sound is there, I is there. So what is the difference between this and R-I? Right? So most people they pronounce them as same. But obviously these are two different sounds. First of all, that R-I is having two letters. There are two separate sounds. One is a consonant, another is a vowel. And this Ra sound is only a vowel sound. It is not a consonant. So it is, if you go down, first he explains their Esham Udbhav Sthanani, that their place of origin means from where they originated, from Narayana's mouth. And the same place they will originate from human mouth also. So he says, A, Kavarga, Ha, Visarganam, Kantha. So A, and Kavarga. So Kavarga is the 5 varnas beginning from Ka. Ka, Kha, Ga, Gha, and Ha, and Visarga. So they come from Kantha, means from the throat. So they are called guttural. So they have to be pronounced A. So some people say here in North India A. You might have heard it. So it is not A, it is A. And it is also not O as they say in Bengal. So therefore they say Krishna, Ramo. So it is not O. But it is also not A, it is A. It is Vivrita sound. So A, that is with more with open mouth, and the sound has to come from the throat. A. There is not much. Why swaras are swara? That they don't make use of tongue, except in Ra there is use, but in other ones tongue is not playing much role. Tongue is used in the Vyanjanas, consonants. So that is also sometimes it is defined. What is the difference between a vowel and a consonant? That a vowel is pronounced without making use of the tongue. You make use of the other instruments, but tongue is not blocking the sound. And consonants, you have to take the tongue to a certain place in the mouth and block the air, and then sound is produced.
You said You said vivrita?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Means it is open, like. Or rather, actually, it is vivrita. It is, I think, samvrita. The last sutra of Panini is and it is a very mysterious sutra. It just says So the meaning is that throughout his grammar he uses the as open, and in the end he says it is closed. I think that's what it means. There's a vivrita and samvrita. Samvrita is closed and vivrita is open. So it is pronounced it's like, it's not completely open mouth. So when you say is open. So and then ka, kha, ga, gha, nga. So this is what most people don't pronounce properly. So this is a nasal sound, but it comes from the throat. So nose and throat are used. Ka, kha, ga, gha, nga. Everybody can say it? Yes. So because we have to learn ka, kha, ga, gha, nga. So it is not inya, it is not na, it is not na, it is nga. Like you say sangha, sangha, sangha. Anga, anga. Okay, so you can see the difference. So,
Okay.
yes.
The ga sound, that last one.
Nga, 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 nga. Anga, anga. Say anga. Kangha. Kangha is comb in Hindi.
It sounds like a cow is calling.
And then ha, and visarga is also like ha, sound just coming, air coming from the throat, but it follows the previous vowel. If previous vowel is e, it will become he. If it is he, then he correspondingly takes that. It just follows that. So these are the varnas which are pronounced from kantha. Then e, chavarga, yashanam, talu. So e and chavarga. Chavarga is cha, cha, ja, jha, nya, nya, nya. So what is whiny sound? So this nya has to come from talu. Talu is above the teeth. So for this the tongue has to go towards the teeth, not touching the teeth but little above. Cha. Cha, cha, ja, jha, nya, nya. So tongue is really not touching, but it has a tendency to go there. Then only this sound will come. Nya. So e, in case of vowels, as I said, tongue is really not touching anything, but it is there. E, cha, cha. So all these kavargas, chavarga, tavarga, the first one is not the aspirate, it is called non-aspirate sound. There is less air. And the second one is aspirate sound. So you have ka, kha. So kha, although in English you write it k, h, but it is not ha sound there. It is just one. It is kha. So ka, kha, and here you have cha, cha. Then the third one is again non-aspirate, and then fourth is again aspirate. Ja, jha. So cha, cha, ja, jha, nya. Say it. Cha, cha, ja, jha, nya. Okay. So this word sangya, which we say sangya, it is actually sanjya. Sanjya. Because it is gya, gya, which we are saying, it is actually jya. Like what we are saying gyan, really it is not gyan, it is jyan. 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 But it has become just standard to call it gyan. We are saying it ga and ya. Everybody pronounces that. Except if you meet Arya Samaji. They are the only one I have seen, they will say Jan. Then in Gujarat they say Nyan, Nyan. Right, Purushottam Prabhu? Nyan. So it is. So different places, different variations of this. But actually it is Jyan. Jyan. Oh, Majyan. Difficult.
This is a combination of ja and nya, or
yes.
What?
Yeah, it is ja and nya. It is a conjunct consonant. These are two consonants coming together, ja and nya, and they belong to the palate. They are palatal sounds. Both of them.
Babaji, you said that the visarga also comes from the throat.
Yes.
So what is the difference between the visarga and the actual ha? So if I write this and ha, and instead then replace it by visarga, what is the difference in the sound?
Sound, there is not much difference. This is, as I am saying, some of the sounds I cannot produce because for 60 years I am pronouncing wrongly. But my teacher, he makes the difference. I cannot. The sound actually is different. Right now you can think that as if it is like a light ha sound, not strong ha.
But the visarga is supposed to be like 1 unit in a chandas, right?
Yes.
Or is it supposed to be half unit?
Visarga is considered as ardhamatra. So there is, the time is described like that. What is that? Ek matra harshastu ek matra gaya dirgmatra dvimatro dirgha uchyate plutastrutir matra gaya vyanjanam chardha matrakam. So this swaras, they have 3 which will come later on. There is a small, long and pluta, which we call here as Vaman, Trivikrama and Mahapurusha. So they are called Rashva, Dirgha and Pluta. So ek matro bhaved rasvo, dvimatro dirgha uchyate, trimatrastu pluto jaya vyanjanan chardha matrakam. So like a, e, u, this is 1 unit of time. And the long ones a, e, u, this is 2 unit of time. And these a, I, o, au, they are all long. They don't have a short form. The first 5 have short and long. The next 4, they have only long forms. And then there is something called pluta, which comes when you are calling somebody, or you are singing, or somebody is crying, or in happiness. So that is 3 or more. Like you are singing, so you elongate some sound. So that has to be accounted for in Sanskrit, so they call it pluta. And Vyanjana, so the consonants, they take half the unit of time. So what you see here, they are all written with an a added to them for the ease of pronunciation. Otherwise it should be ka, ka, ga, ga, ma, cha, cha, ja, ja, ya, ta, ta, da, da, no, like that. But we are saying ka, kha, because one a has been added to them. Otherwise it takes only half the unit. So then this visarga, anuswara, they also take half.
Just going back one step about the ja and the nya and gyan, or sorry, is it meant to be pronounced with those 2 sounds kind of rolling together as one unit, or should there be a distinct, like when we say bhakta, it's like there's the K and the T are clearly both there?
Same way, they have to come one after another. Jyan. Both will take half the unit of time. Because they are varna. Okay. So this is talu or palatal sounds. Then comes the oshta. So then he says u, and then pavarga pa, pha, ba, bha, ma. They come from the lips. So they come from the oshta, lips. Then comes the cerebral sounds. These are the difficult ones. So especially English speaking people, they have trouble with this sound. So this is that you have to have your tongue, if you see the tongue straight like this, and then when you have to pronounce it, the bottom part of the tip of the tongue has to touch the top part of the mouth, the cerebral part. It has to go like that. So when you say ta, ta, if you see my mouth, ta. So my tongue is turning and touching up. So ta. So this is the sound. Ta, tha, da, dha, na. So na also will come from there. So now when we are pronouncing Krishna, mostly we pronounce it wrong. Because we are pronouncing na sound more from the teeth. It is actually na. Krishna. Krishna. It looks so odd now to our ears because we are just not used to it. But that's how it is. Because Krishna is the top boss, so he has to pronounce from the top of the mouth. Right? He's not some lower throat, this, that. He's the cerebral guy. So, except for ka, ra, sha, na, all come from there. From the roof of the mouth. So that's why now you know why he is called Swam Bhagavan. This is the real reason.
Does the word murdhanya mean?
Murdha means top. Murdha also means head.
Okay, because if I read cerebral it comes into my mind, maybe I have to pronounce it so my cerebral will get into some vibration.
Yes.
But it's not like that, eh? It's just on the top.
Yeah. So ra. So now this Ri, here in North India we pronounce it as Ri, Krishna, and then in some places like Gujarat, Maharashtra, etc., also Andhra, they pronounce it as Ru. So they will say Krishna. Here they say Krishna, right? Krishna. But actually it is something different. So it is something Krishna. It is more towards U and not E. This Krishna is completely wrong. Yes.
So when we chant, we are only chanting.
So Bengal.
Gujarati are right then.
Well, not completely. It is not Ru also. They say Krishna. It is not like that. It is Krishna.
That's important for Maharashtrians.
Yeah, mine from the Maharashtra.
Also, the Gujarat is derived from the Maharashtrians.
Yeah. Has to be. That's why it is called Maharashtra.
Is the real sound from the palate?
No, Murdha. This is cerebral sound. Ra, ta, tha, da, dha, na. They all come from the Murdha. They are all cerebral. And Sha. Ra and Sha. Ra.
Remember your wife is Gujarati.
Tanma's wife is not Gujarati. You are making a mistake.
No, she is right.
She is? I thought she was from Madhya Pradesh.
You can take it.
Okay, then make him happy. You score a point, Prabhu, Purushottam. Because wife is more powerful than husband. She is the one who gives birth and teaches the children how to pronounce. So she is the one who is ruling the roost, as they say.
So it seems that this Murdhanya is very close to how the Americans pronounce the R, right?
Girl.
America, like this, or
That's a girl.
girl, yeah.
Right? It's a girl. Actually, theirs is not really Murdhanya. Theirs is guttural. It's not Murdhanya.
Okay.
For the American R, to pronounce it, you have to curl the tongue and then take it back, and the sound has to come from girl. Pearl. The pearl of a girl. So that is their sound. I took lesson in this also. But it was very difficult to figure it out from where they are breaking. I took only one class. Especially for this, I was trying to figure out from where they produce this R sound. Because I could never figure out. I hear it from where are they saying it? So I booked one session with one American teacher, and then she said it comes like, it's very difficult. This is especially American, not British. They don't pronounce it like that. So this is the Murdha. And then the next one, this is the easy part, the dental. But the first two, they are also pronounced wrong. As I said yesterday, that there is no R sound here. The way most people pronounce it is as if it is L plus Rikar. Right? But that is a separate sound. So people pronounce it as R. as if it is L, the consonant L, la, and then the vowel ra. But it's not that. There is no ra sound in this. It is lo, 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 tavarga. Tavarga is easy. Everybody says that ta, tha, da, dha, na. Only thing is that tha people say ta like ta, tha, da, dha. So many times English speaking people, they don't make the distinction between ta and tha, da and dha. So this aspirate sound also they pronounce like non-aspirate. So it is ta, tha, da, dha, na. So this is easy. And then la, like in lala, and sa. Yes, Malati. So these are dental sounds. And dental and labial, these are the easy ones. That's why the children, they pronounce, papa, mama, all this, they're all coming from the lips. Easy to pronounce. Malati, you had a question? Okay. Because my computer died, so I don't know who is speaking. Yes.
Babaji, I want to know the difference between the two cerebral vowels.
One is short, other is long.
So is one with open mouth and the other?
No. Just double the time. Just like you have E and E. U, U. Ro, ro. Lo, lo. Take extra time. 2 matras. And the matra, how do you calculate? Matra means unit. So 1 unit for short vowel, 2 unit for long vowel, and half unit for the consonant, and 3 or more for the elongated vowels, which you, as I said, you use them in singing, crying, laughing, surprise, calling somebody from far away. That is elongated. So the unit is understood from the, what you call the crowing of a hen. So if you have, I'm sure everybody has heard. So it goes like ooh, ooh, ooh. So first is 1 unit, second unit, 3 unit. So you don't need to watch or anything, it's available universally. Crowing of hen early morning. So that's described. Kukkut rutau. Jiva Goswami says kukkut rutau. Kukkut is hen. Rutau means crying or crowing.
And Bhaktivinoda Prabhu, in his commentary, he gives also the example of this dental L, which is written like a horizontally lying 8, which is also in the...
That is in the Vedas.
Purohita, yes.
So that is ala. So there are 2 sounds. It is not used in the Laukik Vyakarana, but in the Vedic Vyakarana, Vedic pronunciation, there is another sound which is generally written like a horizontal 8 with a stick hanging from a stick. And that pronounces, so there is a la sound and there is a la. So the first mantra of Rig Veda uses that Agni Mile Purohitam. Agni Mile Purohitam. So if you go to Haryana, villages, north part of Haryana, they pronounce la like that. They will, like in Hindi, pull. Pull is a bridge, so they will say pull. It's very common.
Could you maybe explain what's the difference between the vowels which we just said, the danta vowel, ui, r and ro, and then this lying 8.
No, this is lo and there's a ala. There's a more use of tongue in that. Ala. And this is lo.
So one is a consonant, the other is
This is a vowel. It's written like this, it looks like a consonant, but it's a vowel. And there's only one word actually. So here Jiva Goswami includes both of them, short and long. Panini includes only one. He says there is no long of this. There is a pluta and short. And there is only one root verb, klipta. Klipta. From where you have kalpate and kalpana and all that. There is no other word. So just for that we have to include. I don't know how it came. So don't worry too much about it. Fortunately, you won't encounter it anywhere.
But so the idea is that it doesn't, so the pronunciation is asparshi prayatna, the tongue does not touch any place in the mouth, and it's just, the air just flows through,
Yeah.
But the tongue it's called dental because the tongue is somehow close to the teeth without touching them.
Yes. Just like Ichuyashanam, E is called talu, right? Palatal E. But when we are saying E, the tongue is not really touching the palate. But still he says that it is from palate. Right? Or U.
Babaji, if a letter is pronounced if a phoneme is pronounced with the tongue actually touching the mouth, but is still an independent phoneme, would it still be called a vowel or not?
Give me an example.
Like in if the tongue actually touches the...
Yeah, it is listed here. I mean, vowels are listed here. It's not that we are defining. That's a loose definition I gave. Now it does not work other way around, that you can make a new vowel. So these are the fixed sounds here. They are like 49 or whatever. You count X, counting becomes 50. But really, X is not independent. So the vowels are only these ones in Sanskrit which are listed here. There is nothing new. In other languages there may be more. Like in English we have different, this A is pronounced in 4 or 5 different ways, Like you say. 3 or 4?
3.
Which one?
A, O.
There is a cat, and there is a cot, and there is a abate. A is also there.
Second, A, O. 3 7.
Okay. And there is no silent. There is no silent. No.
We've done this course, Spalding, which is teaching children speaking.
Yeah, so there is, but in Sanskrit we don't have that. Here, A is A, that's all. So this is of course the beauty of Sanskrit, that it is very well defined. There you don't know, BUT is but PUT is put. CUT is cut. So you don't know whether it will be cut or cut or put or put. You have to learn everything. There is no specific rule. Of course there are some rules there, but
in one system they made a rule,
Yeah, but
then the second term will come and the third term will come. They made some kind of rules.
Yeah, some rules are there, but not fixed like this. So here they are very specific how they are pronounced. And that's the way, and therefore there are no variations in this. Once you learn it, anyone who has learned it properly, then that's how anywhere, India, outside India, they will pronounce it like that. But he knows how many variety in Hindi also, and any other language, so many varieties of pronunciation. So, what is that? कोस पे पानी बदले 3 कोस पे बानी. You're saying like this. that at every 2 miles the taste of water is different, and every 6 miles the language changes. And I have seen it, in the villages. Now everything is becoming morphed because of the television and movement of mixing people. But I remember when I was born in a village, you could recognize a person from the next village just by hearing the way they pronounce. Every village actually had a different pronunciation. So in Sanskrit also they are saying Munde Munde Matir Bhinna Shunde Shunde Saraswati. That every mind thinks differently and every mouth pronounces differently. But it was very true in India, at least in the villages. Because villages people never went, they did not travel much, they were confined to their own place, so they had their own way of pronouncing, and you could figure it out. This guy is from there. That just the water, the word pani, which means water, has this peculiar pronunciation. Pani, pani, puni, like that. So many different ways of pronouncing. Yes.
A question regarding the chanting now, the Hare Krishna mantra. How should we chant in this new style?
Yes. Yes, of course, I am teaching Sanskrit. You think I will say no?
I was wondering, can you please chant it once so you see, hear it, how you chant it now?
Tomorrow. I will practice it tonight. I don't want to teach wrongly. You remember that story that the boy used to eat a lot of sweets and the father tell him don't eat and he will not stop, so he took him to a sadhu and then he said he eats a lot of sweets, can you please tell him not to eat? So he says come after 1 week. So he came after 1 week and then he told the boy don't eat sweets. So the father asked why you didn't tell him 1 week ago. So he says I myself was eating. So I have to stop first.
Honestly, if there is a time for questions, or will be next time?
Tomorrow or next class.
Okay.